can you hear me? Okay. Okay. Before I start, maybe I would want to introduce why I feel like going to start making videos in this form. Okay. So previously, oh no, no. So actually, I have a blog that I frequently use to maybe reflect and maybe tell stories about my life, but nobody can read it, and it's inconsistent. I will only write on my blog when I remember about it. So needless to say that I'm quite lazy in writing. So that's why I'm inconsistent, and maybe because nobody can read it, it's just more like my own diary. So actually I have this list of topics that I would want to debunk. Like, I have this list since like years ago, like maybe back in 2022, 2023, like there are a lot of it, maybe like more than 10, I'm not sure. But because the topics keep increasing, because I didn't make a single video or make any essay out of it, and then I'm also lazy in writing. So I feel like, why not we make video essay instead, like in this kind of form. It's gonna be like a video format where I'm talking. Maybe it's gonna be boring, but it meets the my goal to finally debunk the topic that I want to know. Because I am someone who is curious naturally. Curious a lot of things, like why this happened, how this could happen, why you do such things, kind of things. And most of the time, the answer to my topics or questions are not answerable by Google. Maybe AI can answer them, but AI is not legit, because I inquire maybe some research studies or opinions or interviews by people. I really want to know the correct or the most possible answer for my curiosity. So that's why I resolve in making these kind of videos, and I hope that I will be consistent in it and also have the time and energy to pour my brain so that I can come up with the best conclusion or the best opinion out there. And also, I hope that the video will be fully in English. I want to polish my English, because conversational English that we use on daily basis is different than the English that we use on an argumentative format, maybe like in debate or public speaking or in these kind of topics. But I hope it doesn't sound too formal or too boring. I hope it's engaging and more to like discussion, even though I don't know who is going to discuss with me. Okay. Yeah. So my first curiosity is that so for this topic is that why people naturally form friendship within similar culture. And this is my observation from pantai timur people, like Kelantan, Terengganu or Borneo. So why I could came up with this topic or this curiosity is that when I was in UTP, I have two main friend group, which is the first one is the default one. We are all studying the same program, computer science. Everyone is from mixed background. Some are from KL Selangor, like me from Terengganu. Some are from Perak, from Borneo, mixed Indian, Chinese. It's all scattered. There's no specific type of demographic for us. But I also have a secondary friend group that's inherently more focused in terms of the demographics. Like they're all Malay. They're all Malay, and most of them are from Pantai Timur area, mainly from Terengganu. Maybe some from Kelantan, some from Perak, some from Kedah, I think. But for the second friend group, it's the demographic is more focused on one place. So when I was being friends with them, I'm asking myself, am I living the stereotype of people in Pantai Timur or people from Pantai Timur actually only be friends with people who are from the similar background, similar origin. Because I also realized there are some people who mention that the second friend group, which is us, doesn't want to be friends with people outside of the region. So that's absolutely incorrect. And I think this is a phenomena, you can say, phenomena that happening across Malaysia, especially in educational institution, be it high school, university, of course, maybe some in workplace, but this kind of phenomena doesn't only happen in my university. Something that, like, if you go on TikTok or you go on threads or you go on ads, what people call it nowadays, there are gonna be some people mentioning about this issue, and I feel like there must be a specific reason of why this kind of thing happening across Malaysia. I mean, not only to the point that it's intentional, I feel that there must be some psychological reasons that subconsciously people don't really realize. Because if not, why this thing happens so frequently, yet it's unavoidable. Okay, so to debunk this, I would want to let us know how friendships are formed in the first place. So based on the article by California Learning Resource Network, there are four main factors of forming friendships. So the first one is proximity. Like in university context, will be like classmates, people from the same club society, people who we hang out often, we see each other often. And for the second one is similarity, maybe shared interests, shared hobbies, holding the same values, from the similar roots or origin or similar upbringing. Yeah. And then the third one is reciprocity, which is both people or the collective people in the group, or maybe it could be like one to one person, show mutual liking and care. So if one person give, the other will receive, and it goes back and forth. It will not happen if only one party is keep giving, those kind of things. And the last factor is self-disclosure. So this is where you, outside of maybe public information or general information about yourself, you start talking about your personal information, something that you won't share with people who you just get to know. It will require trust and acceptance. So I think like for disclosure, for factor 4, self-disclosure is the most intimate factor out of the 4. So my hypothesis is that if you look into people from Pantai Timur, Kelantan, Terengganu, Borneo, they are more nuanced in terms of their culture, as in like their dialect, the culture itself, religious values, and food, not to mention. So they find comfort with people who are able to, they become themselves with. They could express themselves the most in the most raw form without alternating themselves. And then I also realized that they are the furthest away from their hometown. So like you imagine if a student studying in KL and their hometown is in like Besut, it would like take 7 hours just to reach by bus, maybe. And it's not worth it to go back when you have only one day public holiday during the weekends. It's like one day is wasted on the road enough, and then you only have like one day at home. That's basically it. And you can't say that about Borneo students as well. Like they need to buy a ticket flight that costs a lot, and students are not necessarily rich unless their parents are. And so from this hypothesis, I think we can connect the factors of forming friendships and how we are being assimilated at school. And it makes sense that the first one, there is physical proximity. For example, it's starting from studying the same course, used to study in the same school, participating in the same club or events, or simply just living within the same block or building or being roommates or housemates. And the second one is there is cultural similarity in terms of like similarity, right? The second factor. So the most prominent factor would be in terms of culture is dialect. Kelantan, Terengganu, Borneo, you can say that their dialect is, you can't deny that their dialect is harder to understand and harder to copy. And also in terms of culture, they are more cultured, I would say. No offense. And then food preferences. Maybe they would prefer more bland food, or they would not prefer something that is out of their common palate, you know. Just to add, because I'm from Terengganu, right? We don't have much nasi kandar here. So I rarely eat nasi kandar, or I avoid them. I really don't like it when my friends invite me to go to mama actually. Because I feel like I don't have much to eat except for their roti. I like their roti. And my friends said that I'm racist. But I'm not. It's just like curry is too thick for me. Like curry in Terengganu is very very. What's chai in English? Chai boleh bagi. Macam like water. So I'm used to that. And maybe I'm not imposing this. Religious values. Kelantan, Terengganu, stereotypical, Islamic. And then Borneo, I could see that many of my Sabahan friends often very devoted to their church. Like many of them. So I feel like people are more comfortable within the same religious values as well. And the third connection that I could do is comfort. They are more comfortable because they have ease in communication or understanding. So, as I mentioned that the dialect is considerably different and harder to be understood rather than the other dialect, right? So, they would find people who they are able to express themselves without alternating themselves or changing their dialect, so that they don't have to do extensive explanation of things. Like, you know, if you're from Terengganu and you have few words that cannot be translated in the standard Malay language, it's gonna be hard for you to talk because there's no exact word that could explain certain things. And maybe also culture joke, the use of curse words. It's a bit funny sometimes. And maybe I would share a bit of my experience during my exchange program. So when I was having my exchange program in South Korea, I was in group assignment. I'm the only Malaysian, and then there's a Vietnamese, Korean, Italian, and Finnish. And I feel like I'm always exhausted after group discussion. Like, we have this group discussion like almost every week, and sometimes like even 2 to 3 times a week. So I feel very very exhausted because they use very standard English, and maybe also about my accent as well, pronunciation, and not to deny, I actually talk a bit fast. So I need to slow down, need to control myself, need to use the proper grammar structure, need to use a bit of like intense pronunciation so they could understand. So I feel a bit exhausted to them. And you can say that I'm a bit more reserved with them. Like, I feel like they feel like I am not someone who is extrovert. Maybe ambivert, but not to the point of introvert. But then I have another comparison when I was doing my exchange, whereas I have a Singaporean friend. She's Indonesian, but she studies in Singapore. I feel like when talking to her, it's like kind of like fluid, you know? Like even though I'm talking in English, but because we kind of use like the same slang, English or Singlish, and we use broken grammar structures anyways. We understand each other. Sometimes we mix Malay, so it doesn't feel as exhausted. And I feel I express more with her compared to the international friend group that I had previously. So, and then from this, I kind of like relate to some videos. If you know, like maybe you can see some videos saying that my international friends could never know how funny I am in my own language. And that's feel correct and true because you are not able to express yourself in the most raw form, in the most easy manner, because you need to filter yourself so that people can understand you. So people won't know how funny you are or how you are actually if you can't or you won't or you have the resistance to express yourself. Hence, that's why that I feel like people from this cultured group of people, they tend to be friends or have the psychological or subconsciously subconsciously being friends with people from the same roots that have the same dialect or the same preferences or the same religious values because they are more comfortable, easier to talk, easier to understand without extensive explanation, without judgment. Sometimes it's a bit tiring to explain yourself, especially in very, very simple terms. I mean, I don't get mad with people, but for you, for example, if you're crying and then you want to like tell people about your story and just yap, you're not going to feel like resolve if the other person say keep asking what's the meaning of this, what is the meaning of this, like you're gonna feel annoyed out of nowhere. So it's not that people from this culture actually intentionally exclude others. It's more that how our mind or our comfort works. So we tend to gravitate with two people that or spaces that we can express ourselves the most in the most raw form, and we are able to express and be understood in language that we are comfortable with. And it's natural actually that we tend to be closer or gravitate closer to spaces that allow us to be ourselves more. But of course, just to clarify, it's not applicable to every cultured people that we know. Like me, I'm friends with everyone. It's just that I have two main friend groups, and it's not a rule that this type of friendship will happen. But it's a strong pattern that I see across Malaysia, especially in educational institutions. So I feel like there must be the reason for it. Psychologically, not something that you intend to left out or exclude others. So I could correlate factor 2 and factor 4, which is similarity and self-disclosure. But it wouldn't be as direct as it sounds. Like when you have the same similarity, you are more comfortable, you are able to express yourself more. It's natural that you're going to disclose yourself, like giving personal information about family, about money, about problems, something that you wouldn't tell to people just know for 2 to 3 months. Is that short? Adios.